This is what Lebanon needs, to look for energy independence and security. Energy for us is a concern instead of it being a solution. The cheapest kilowatt hour is the one that we don't use. We import 80 to 90% of our energy, which is a fundamentally broken system.
If you could solve one global energy problem tomorrow, what would it be?
It's not sufficient to design good systems. You need to implement those ideas. You need to have the skills that allow you to convince the decision makers. We have a lovely country with huge potential in all resources. If you're not 100% convinced yourself, you cannot convince others. We cannot have clean energy. This is a myth.
How can we stay relevant in this field?
Be there, meet people, connect with people. Don't be fooled by AI. Learn it deeply, but don't think it will do your work.
What project or achievement makes you the most proud?
Another difficult question. Training hundreds of professionals, youth. Today, we consume 35% less, and we have reduced our emissions by 41%.
Is it practical to have all buildings green?
What's a green building? Less material, less resources, less impact on the environment.
So your expenses will be lower while living in a green building.
Your total cost of ownership will be lower as well. A long time ago, Lebanon had a huge percentage of its energy mix from clean energy, especially hydro. We need a strategic vision about the importance of energy and how vital it is to our survival. Climate responsive architecture is very, very important. There is something fundamentally broken, and it's the lack of vision.
Engineering can design systems, but impact comes from those who decide how these systems shape the future. Welcome to 2M2A. Hi, Ziad Haddad.
Hi, Mathilde. How are you?
All is good.
All is good, thank you.
Beyond the titles, the projects and everything, بدي بس هيك تقلي مين زياد حداد beyond the titles وشوي هيك a glimpse of your career.
Sure. أول شيء thank you على استضافتي بالبودكاست و congratulations and I wish you the best. You're starting with the most difficult question.
Exactly.
I would say, a work in progress, so not defined yet. But I would like to see myself as somebody who contributes to the life of others and to their careers through service, through the sharing of knowledge, through education. And I contribute to businesses as well by allowing them to grow and to prosper through my knowledge in energy and sustainability.
Exactly. Let's highlight شوي على الكارير journey تبعك. If you look at your early career stages, what moment made you realize that you wanted to work in the energy sector?
Mm-hmm. So originally, I'm a mechanical engineer, and I was always proud of the work that I do. You know, at the time I started practicing our profession, the focus was not at all on energy conservation and sustainability. We used to design systems for proper capacity, for the right sizing, for comfort, for ample cooling, ample heating, ample water supply to systems, and so on and so forth. And then around the year 2007, I started discovering the world of energy and sustainability, and this added an amazing dimension to my work. So I started discovering that this was a missing puzzle, and I saw the impact that energy had on people's lives through the energy bills, through the negative impact it has on pollution, on their health, how institutions like hospitals were struggling, how industries, especially in our region, were struggling because of the high cost of energy and its unavailability. So this is where I said, this is a good cause and it's worth pursuing.
Okay, you can actually do a lot of things regarding the subject that will affect all the systems because it's interlinked, right?
Absolutely. Energy is interwoven into mechanical systems, electrical systems, and all systems. And from that moment, my work became a passion because it has so many impacts beyond providing good systems and engineered systems.
Yeah. So many engineers remain technical in the field. You transitioned into leadership roles, managing roles for large facilities. What drove that specific shift?
I have to first admit that I am still a very technical enthusiast. So I like the science and engineering behind things, and I like to dive deeper into the principles of physics and science and engineering. But early on in my life, since before becoming an engineer, since my youth and volunteering days in social activities, I realized that in order to realize your ideas, you need to take the lead. You need to start working ahead of people, lead them by example, and inspire them so that they join you in the project that you have.
To be a good example.
To be a good example and to be able to influence people, because alone you cannot do much. So that was as important for me as having the right idea, because without it you cannot execute your plan.
Exactly. So basically engineers who move into the management part or management roles, they tend to increase the efficiency by twice or 3 times.
Well, absolutely, because it's not sufficient to design good systems or to have good ideas. You need to implement those ideas. So from good idea to implementation, you need to have the skills that allow you to convince the decision makers to pursue those ideas and projects. If you design a high performance energy project, you need to have the skills to show its financial profitability and to have the good communication and argumental skills to prove to the decision makers that this is something they have to do. And if they don't do it, they would be actually losing, not just at statu quo.
Yeah, to have a strong foundation. Yes. So in this segment, we're going to talk about managing infrastructure at scale, which is the LAU experience. Universities are like small cities. So you have the water system, the waste system, the electricity. So you have these all systems, but on a smaller scale than a city. So in a country like Lebanon, where energy systems are unstable, how do institutions build resilience in their infrastructure?
Sure. So for institutions like universities in Lebanon, you need to account for the fact that at one point you might not have the electrical utility. And this is not like planning for a one-time occurrence. This could happen any day and for a prolonged period. So first thing is you need to plan to have your own generated power supply, whether for power generation or for cooling or for heating or for the daily operation. So that's first, you have to have a good power plant of your own. The second thing is you need also your energy reserves, because at any time fuel cut off could happen, difficulty in procuring fuel, etc. So you need a very good storage, very reliable storage, and you need to plan by the day how many days you can go without the grid supply. So the second thing is good storage. The third is building really resilient systems, because you want them ready when you need them. So this happens through advanced and proper maintenance systems, preventive and predictive maintenance to have your systems ready.
Well.
Absolutely. And for some other systems, you need uninterrupted power supply. So you need to have important backup and UPS systems for the critical uses. You also need to have a mix so that you don't only rely on the power plant, traditional power plant. So you need to integrate renewables, which gives you another edge, along with proper planning for, from the beginning, not having an energy-hungry facility. So having facilities that are efficient in, consuming the minimum resources.
Exactly. So being efficient is one of the hardest things that we are facing now in the country. When you look at a campus operation, where do you see the biggest opportunity for energy improvement?
Well, the biggest opportunities are there. They start with the conservation of energy, because the cheapest kilowatt hour is the one that we don't use. So when you start with proper awareness and education of the community to consume consciously, this is the building block. And then with it, you need to have proper facilities that are efficient themselves in their design and operation. A very important element is the people running the facility. They need to be well educated, well trained, engaged with you in the mission.
Transparent as well.
Transparent and aligned with you on the cause of reducing energy and seeing the big picture, how this is critical and sustainable
to have
for
the
the
same
operation.
Vision.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Of the university.
Exactly. So can your findings at a university scale can be extrapolated to a bigger scale city or government?
So in fact, a large university campus is like a small city. Definitely on a technical level, most of the findings and initiatives are valid for scaling. But at city level, you have other challenges as well. You have more complex decision making, lots of parties involved. So you have the municipality level, you have the national laws and regulations, and you have, the local players like the neighborhood generator owners, for example, or the resistance from some people. Absolutely. Yes. And the fuel cartel behind him.
Yes.
So you have bigger challenges. And although technically you can scale, I would say at city you would need more strategic alliances and ground preparation.
Basically, we have the infrastructure problem as well, because the infrastructure here in Lebanon, it needs a lot of maintenance at this point.
Of course, as opposed to a university that you properly invest in and maintain. Yeah. That's right.
So if you had to redesign the energy system of a university from scratch, what is the first thing that you would prioritize?
All right. First of all, if we're speaking about LAU, I wouldn't redesign it from scratch. It's like a child, and we love it with all its imperfections. So, and it makes it part of what makes our job interesting, to contribute to improving the campus, the life on the campus, and with new systems, new buildings, improved efficiency, better performance, and more resilience. But if you're asking me if we were to design another university from scratch, I think we should start from building sustainable buildings and infrastructure. Climate responsive architecture is very, very important, because it's the building block around which everything then evolves. So having systems that inherently do not consume lots of resources.
This will help you with your own consumption, actually.
Absolutely. And so less energy consumption, less water consumption, less material use, cleaner material, good harnessing of natural resources, natural daylight, natural ventilation, sun rays, etc. So a campus that interacts with its environment is the good start. And then around it, you build energy efficiency, proper operations and controls, building management systems, energy management systems, and the list is long.
Yeah. So I want to highlight that when the system is stable, people will be more comfortable in the university. When you have when you have a system that is not stable, you won't feel 100% comfortable.
Mathilde, we feel it in our daily
Exactly.
life. So energy for us is a concern instead of it being a solution. So people are worried whether they have energy, whether they have it reliable, at which cost. So of course, when you provide it, it provides comfort and ease, and it contributes to the well-being of the people. You wouldn't have absenteeisms, you wouldn't have people complaining from lack of energy availability, and they would be focused on doing what they're there to do.
Yeah. So the fourth segment will be about the energy certifications and building the next generation. Small note, Ziad gave me my CEM course, which is the Certified Energy Manager, and my PCF, Performance Contracting and Funding Professional. Behind every strong energy sector is a generation of well-trained engineers. You have trained many engineers through many certifications with AEE, Association of Energy Engineers. Why are these certifications important for the industry?
Certifications are actually extremely important, especially in our industry, because energy engineering is a dynamic field. It's on the move every day. So it's not static like many other engineering fields. So you need to be up to date. And a way of getting that evolved knowledge is through ongoing certification and continuous learning. Especially if you seek certifications like the one that AEE provide. They are internationally recognized. They put you at par with the global international standards. They validate your knowledge towards your employer, towards your clients, towards your peers and the people you're dealing with. And they allow everybody to speak the same language. So they are very, very important. They help people progress in their career because they allow them to be recognized and give them updated and very valid knowledge. And I would ask you, I looked today at your LinkedIn profile, and I noticed you have put the CEM and the PCF before your bachelor degree in engineering. So what value did you find in those certifications?
Basically, when I did my CEM and PCF, it was so relatable because I was already working at the time. All the information that I took, it was valid. So for me, it was important to mention that these certifications added so much value to my career. That's why.
That's great. You know, Mathilde, we have people all the time coming back to us, giving the positive feedback about the certifications, how they, you know, got a job at Amazon because of them, or were recruited because of them, or succeeded in doing this or that project thanks to those certifications. And there is no greater joy than knowing that you are being able to help people grow.
Yeah, exactly. These certifications will help you get the right knowledge for you to basically help people in this industry. From your experience teaching these programs, what separates engineers who truly succeed in the energy field from those who struggle?
So to succeed in the energy field, or in any field, I would say, you need to really focus on properly understanding what you're studying and working on. So this is very different than being good at using the new tools that you have. You know, the engineers, especially the youth, they tend to rely more on softwares and tools and AI before understanding the founding principles.
Yeah, the core
of what they're doing. So this is a first thing. The second thing is build your career working at a place where you can learn. So avoid the error, the mistake of just looking for a more paid job at the beginning. Look for the job where you can learn. And grow. And, you know, you need to put in the work. I don't believe in people who don't put the hard work. I think you need to put the hard work and then be smart using your time. So it's not just work for work, but understanding reward and growth only comes through self-learning, hard
self-improvement
work, and putting
as well.
the hours.
Yeah. How can we stay relevant in this field?
Exactly. It's really, really very evolving. And to stay relevant, you need to be aware of what's going on. And this happens through two things. Put yourself in the market, talk to people, work on things. Even if you feel that currently you don't have the right job or you're not on the right project.
Not in the right place.
Or not in the right place, go to communities like AEE, like other associations. Be there, meet people, connect with people, stay up to date, listen to conferences, take certifications, attend seminars and webinars, podcasts like these, listen to what others have to say, and, you know, educate yourself.
Yeah, connections are something very important nowadays.
Absolutely.
Yeah. As someone who mentored many professionals in the field, what advice would you give someone starting their career today?
So again, I would tell them, work, engage yourself in the core of in the science of things. Don't rely on tools. Don't be fooled by AI. You know, embrace it. AI is a wonderful tool, technology, system. Learn it deeply, but don't think it will do your work. It will help you do your work. And there are other things that AI cannot do. I would mention two of them, which I advise everyone to build as skills. The first one is communication, as you well said. Communicate, teach yourself this skill, because this is what gets you understand other people's needs and what gets your idea to be understood by others. And the second thing is networking. Be there, talk to people, connect yourself to people, attach yourself to the people like whom you want to become. Jim Rohn says success leaves clues.
Yeah.
So look at those people, see how they succeeded, and try to replicate their model.
Yeah, try to follow their path.
Absolutely.
Yeah. This segment will be about energy and sustainability in the region, which is the MENA region. The Middle East and the MENA region sits at the center of the global energy conversation. Mm-hmm. We are the hub, basically. So today in Lebanon, people don't experience energy as a system. They experience it as a daily struggle, as we talked about from the start. From your perspective, what's fundamentally broken in the system here?
So you said it right. There is something fundamentally broken, and it's the lack of vision about what energy is and what sustainability is. I have never heard any of our political leaders, with all my due respect to all of them, except talk about maybe improving a little bit the number of hours of power supply, or improving the distribution, or maybe reducing the tariff and things of the sort.
Yeah.
Whereas we should understand that we need to look for energy independence and security for our country. This is what Lebanon needs, energy independence and security.
Because we are fully dependent.
We are fully dependent. We import 80 to 90% of our energy, and in the matter of fact, of everything we consume, which is a fundamentally broken system. We had a great philosopher and poet who goes by the name of Khalil Gibran. And Khalil Gibran said many years ago, وَيْلٌ لِأُمَّةٍ تَأْكُلُ مِنْ حَيْثُ لَا تَزْرَعُ وَتَلْبَسُ مِنْ حَيْثُ لَا تَحِيكُ. So pity the nation who eats from what it does not plant and wears what it does not sow. I would add today, pity a nation who consumes energy it does not produce and not from clean resources and natural resources it has. You know, long time ago, Lebanon had a huge percentage of its energy mix from clean energy, especially hydro.
Yeah, we
And
had
we find
hydropower
ourselves
plants.
today in this situation. So it's really fundamental because the moment they close the tap on us, we suffocate.
Yeah.
And it doesn't matter how we try with the small politics. We need a strategic vision about the importance of energy and how vital it is to our survival.
Yeah, we need a survival action plan. From your perspective, how is the energy sector in the Middle East evolving today?
The Middle East is very, very interesting because on the one hand, it has lots of resources. It relies historically a lot on fossil fuels. However, it has a huge potential also for clean energy production. It has one of the highest potentials of irradiation on planet Earth. So massive, large-scale solar systems and other renewable systems are very possible and very, very feasible. Also, the technology, the energy transition, distributed generation, etc. These are all, along with the advancement in artificial intelligence and systems, are very available. The other very interesting thing about the Middle East is that there is a lot of energy wastage, so a huge opportunity for improvement. Also, lots of aging buildings and spending energy in the culture, subcooling in summer, especially in GCC countries. So there's a huge opportunity there. And the biggest opportunity I see is that these countries are wealthy and they have the resources to make the change. So while now relying on fossil fuels, the Middle East also realizes that this is not sustainable and cannot continue. So we are seeing a nice shift
to renewables,
financed to renewables and to
reduce their CO2 emissions
production,
as well.
to reduce their dependence, because one day fossil fuels will be depleted.
Yeah.
And these are big economies and they need other sources.
Where do you see the biggest opportunities for sustainability in the region? And let's focus on Lebanon here.
So the biggest opportunities for sustainability are in adopting simple and clean systems. You know, we don't need to think that we cannot build green buildings, we cannot have clean energy. This is a myth, and today technology is available. You know, the sun projects on planet Earth 10,000 times its daily need. So with technology, we will be able to harness that, and one day we will come to it. What we need to do in Lebanon is to move away from the useless struggles and focus on our future. We have the knowledge, we have the capacity, we have the human skills, the technical skills, and and we have a lovely country with a huge potential in all resources. We have the sea, we have the wind, we have the land, we have rivers, we have the sun. So practically we have everything except until today the will to execute.
The political will.
Yeah.
Yeah, so people think electricity is just a bill. But what are we actually paying for in this broken system? We are paying for our environment, for our psychology, for our mental health. Do you agree?
I totally agree. And it's not just a bill, it's many bills. So the Lebanese know, but the non-Lebanese need to know that we pay the electricity utility bill. We pay for the neighborhood generator bill. We pay for our own generator if we have it.
A private generator.
we pay to install a solar system at home, and we pay for all the inefficiencies, and we pay on behalf of some groups who don't pay. And, you know, it's a huge bill. And besides that, as you well said, we pay from our health, and we pay from our security and instability. So it's a huge, huge bill.
Yeah. People feel like the problem is too big to solve. As individuals, are we actually able to make a difference, or is this purely a system level issue?
It's both, actually. So we should not be simplistic in thinking that this can be solved individually. Definitely, system, policy, governance have a big role to play. But individuals have a very important role as well, and an impactful one. And this starts from how we behave at home, how we benefit from the sunlight and keep the stores up when it's winter to help us warm our days, how we turn off the light when we leave the room, how we behave consciously in our commuting to work, from work, whether through pooling or through using public transportation when available, or by driving energy efficient vehicles. The same is our behavior at work, and also the same is how we influence others. You know, always I'm challenged all the time, and some colleagues fall into that trap. Say you're talking about green buildings, and somebody would tell you, yeah, that's nice, but you know, not every building could be green. So if you're not 100% convinced yourself, you cannot convince others. Exactly. And this is very, very important. So this is why I always stress on understanding the fundamentals. Again, what's a green building? It's a building that uses less material, less resources, has you know, less impact on the environment, and provides a better well-being for the people living in it. So can't every building be green? It doesn't have to be sophisticated. So here influence is as well very, very important of individuals. And we need to build this as a culture. The more we talk about it, the more we spread it,
the more it is relevant to people.
The more it is relevant to people and to their daily life, and the more we start having it into our DNA. It's at that time when things start to flow naturally, and when individuals start having the greatest impact, putting the pressure themselves on the government, the decision makers, their companies, on the products they purchase from this supplier or that supplier, based on the behavior of those suppliers.
We always tend to find reasons for things not to work, like green buildings, like the HVAC optimization, or renewables. We always tend to find reasons for things not to work.
Because
especially here in Lebanon.
It's actually everywhere, because people don't like the change. They're used to it. So a technician that used to work on an on-off cycling compressor and is not used to an inverter type compressor would tell you all the reasons why this is bad. If they're used to a certain type of refrigerant, they would tell you all the reasons why the new refrigerant that you're proposing, which has a lower global warming potential and does not deplete the ozone, is not as efficient, they would say. It's flammable, it's risky, etc. So you really need to know your thing and be convinced and able to convince others.
Totally agree. Ziad, is it practical to have all buildings green?
Okay, so to answer that question, again, we need to define what's a green building. So as I said, a green building is simply a building that uses less resources, that has less negative impact on the environment, and that is efficient in its operation and provides well-being to its occupants. So from this perspective, definitely all buildings should be green. And not everybody believes in this, but also not everybody believed in, other discoveries and
Like
other
renewable
systems.
energy.
Like renewable energy, like smartphones. Uh, you know, when before smartphones, the big giants that controlled the telecom industry, we hear no more about them in the telecom industry, especially in mobile industry. So if I ask you, where is Nokia today?
Or
Where
BlackBerry.
is Ericsson? Where is
Yeah.
BlackBerry? Where are all these huge
Companies.
giants, the huge companies that did not believe in the coming smart technology? Even with digital images, Kodak was the company who invented digital imagery,
Camera.
but they did not believe in it. And where is Kodak today as compared to Samsung and the like, who, caught the momentum, knew the trend, and
Yeah,
knew
the
this
next
was
big
not
thing.
just another new thing. This is a must. From the description of green buildings, I say every building should be green. And again, we're not talking here about sophistication or necessarily certification of buildings, but building the right way. In Lebanon, my grandpa's house is green. Maybe your grandparents' house is green. We used to build with stones
Yeah.
from the land, procured locally. We used to have thick walls to provide thermal resistance and a thermally heavy building, narrow windows on the north to reduce cold, recessed windows on the south to allow sun rays in
come
winter and block them in summer, and so on and so forth. So that was a green building. So we cannot build that way today, but we can still
Be green.
build today with the new technologies that we have.
So what is the cost difference between a green building and a typical building?
So the cost comes from the implementation of systems, and it's, the margin is getting narrowed by the day. When people started building green and mostly seeking certifications, this is where there was an impactful cost because systems were new, there was a learning curve, material was not available to everyone, but now it's at everybody's availability.
Yeah, knowledge is for everyone now.
So I would very comfortably say that you can do a green building without at all exceeding an increment of 5% in the overall building cost. If you change the type of marble, you could exceed that cost by far. Or if you select, some high cost pieces,
like wood.
Like
for
wood,
example.
or like Chinaware, or like sanitary fixtures that could elevate a lot the price of systems. Whereas, building green itself is not a big cost driver. And if you think life cycle cost, it's actually way more profitable, because a green building, first of all, will have a higher value. It is sellable at higher, because when you have a facility that consumes less energy, less water, so has a lower bill, and it's more pleasant to live in, so this facility has a higher value. And also you can rent it for higher, and you can operate it at a lower cost. So definitely over its lifetime, green buildings are actually...
So your expenses will be lower while living in a green building.
Your total cost of ownership will be lower as well.
Let's talk about the personal reflection, and let's talk about engineering with purpose. Careers are not only about positions, they are about the impact we leave behind. What has been the most difficult challenge you faced as an energy engineer and a leader?
Generally speaking, the biggest challenge is working in this environment. So having to reset every few years, whether through instability, economic crisis, wars, unrest, political unrest, etc. And every time you have to start from scratch. So this has been a huge challenge. But to be honest, this is us, and this is what built us.
We are resilient. We are resilient.
I mean, yeah, that word
Kind
is
of.
being used a lot.
Yeah.
But let me quote Tony Robbins on this. He says, bad times create strong people. Because what you go through bad times really builds you.
Built you.
The thing is to learn how to stand every time. It's a pity that you really cannot grow much because of this reset.
Yeah.
But something inside grows, which makes you more prepared to face challenges and crises.
Looking back at your career, what project or achievement makes you the most proud?
Another difficult question. So I'm very proud of several projects I have made in the past, being facilities built, designed, etc. I've had the chance and opportunity to consult for major organizations like the World Bank, the European Union, Aramco, and the like. Recently, the work and the projects I do at LAU as well with my colleagues, very interesting. But I think what I'm mostly proud of is having contributed to the knowledge of other professionals, training hundreds of professionals, youth, and equipping them with the knowledge, empowering them, to go and do much work. I feel that I am limited in time and space. There is as much as I can do where I am. But when I share generously with all those people, and then they can go and execute
And thrive.
wherever they are, this gives a bigger dimension to the work that I do and a bigger impact.
Yeah.
And this is what I'm mostly proud of.
What's interesting in this field is that the impact is measurable. So you have the kilowatt hour, you have the CO2 emissions, you have the cost reduction. So when you work in that field, you can basically see the impact and you can measure it as well.
Of course, and this is very important. This is one of the AE certifications, by the way, Certified Measurement and Verification Professional. There is a science to audit and to manage, to measure and to show impact. So you would know, for example, if I take the example of LAU, we recently are taking the baseline of 2018, which is the last normal year
that you have
before
Lebanon, yeah.
COVID, economic crisis, Beirut port explosion, and these days, etc. So I can tell you with full confidence in numbers that today we consume 35% less than we used to in 2018. And we have reduced our emissions by 41%, which is, proven
Remarkable.
and measured on pencil and paper.
How did the numbers were reduced basically from 2018 compared to today?
So it's definitely it's an intentional and team effort. It did not go down by chance. The tendency is to, spend more as you grow. But we intentionally did a huge effort, with our colleagues within the team and our administration. And it starts with, simple things, the systematic shift towards more efficient lights, more efficient air conditioners, high performance pumps, compressors, equipment, etc. Building controls, occupancy sensors. The new buildings that we built are
More
high
efficient.
performance buildings. All the renovations that we do are high performance renovations systematically. All the new projects that we build are green projects, whether certified or not. So this is on the one hand. The other hand is the people.
The mentality.
The operating teams were trained to do operational measures that reduce consumption. So sometimes it's behavioral, sometimes you optimize the sequences of operation of systems. Sometimes it's a joint effort, and the community, relates to what we're doing. So when we ask people to help us reduce consumption, to turn off the light when they leave the office, to turn off the AC, not to set the temperature to very low temperatures in summer and very high temperatures in winter.
Yes.
You would be surprised how much people, relate and help you out. And for our emissions, add to that, we introduced renewables. So on the Biblos campus, for example, today we are at 13% renewable energy from our global energy, and soon we are designing a project that will take us to 56%.
So your CO2 emissions were reduced.
Even more.
Yes, and when you combine the energy efficiency measures and the mentality, you will always have a good result at the end.
Absolutely. Systems alone are never the solution. It's technology and people.
Yes. Quick fire rounds. One technology that will change the energy industry in the next 10 years.
Definitely energy storage.
One mistake young engineers should avoid.
Thinking that AI will do their work.
I agree. One habit that helped you succeed in your career.
Focusing on what is in my control and not being distracted by things that I cannot affect.
Energy efficiency or renewable energy, which has the bigger impact?
I would say neither. I would start always, I'm a big fan of energy conservation. First energy conservation, followed by energy efficiency, and then by renewables.
If you could solve one global energy problem tomorrow, what would it be?
Providing clean, reliable energy to everyone on the planet.
I want to end with the question, if the world listened to you for 1 minute, what should we start doing differently tomorrow?
Save the energy you are putting on conflicts and struggles, and let's think as a humanity, focusing on our energy on a better future for everyone.
Exactly. Let's hope for better days.
Sure.
Thank you, Ziad.
Thank you so much, Matilde.
Thank you. I wanted to mention that this is the first female-led energy podcast in the MENA region. And I'm very proud that I did this interview with you.
It's amazing. I wish you the best.
Thank you.
At AEE especially, we are very supportive of women in the energy and sustainability sector. In fact, a very important branch of AEE is the Council on Women in Energy and Environmental Leadership. So its role is to encourage women and boost them in the field. This is why I'm so happy and proud to be with you here today.
Thank you.
And shout out to all the engineering ladies there
Exactly.
who are with us in the field.